up? So a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy the Iceland videos. So one of the things I wanted to do is share some of my experience there and give you 5 travel tips for going to Iceland. Tip number 1, and the biggest one, the weather in Iceland is unpredictable. Summer or winter, you gotta pack kind of for a variety of stuff. So let's just go with summer, like this trip that we went on. We had anything from really sunny, beautiful t-shirt, shorts weather, and like 65 degrees, no breeze, beautiful sky full of sun. We also had 40 degrees, raining, with a 20-mile-an-hour wind. You gotta kind of be prepared for that. We also had hail. We had a lot of rain. We had just wind. And this can go in the course of one day or in an hour, really shift on you and be a totally different climate. Especially if you're gonna be leaving the city, going to some different places, but it's just something you kind of prepare for going to Iceland. Another bit about Iceland, and kind of referring back to the first part about the weather being unpredictable, if this is your first trip to Iceland, go in the summer. The summer weather is going to be slightly more predictable, but the big thing you're going to have in the summer is you're going to have about 23 to 24 hours of sunlight. This does make sleeping a lot trickier, but I've been both the summer and I've been the winter, and 3 hours of sunlight is really, really hard to deal with. And it's not going to be sun, it's just going to be gray gloom. If you need a vacation where you just want to go sleep a shitload and hibernate, Iceland in the winter could be the perfect place. I've never slept so much, I just could not get my shit together, whereas when you're over there in the summer, it's really tricky to get on schedule. But there's so much to do outside and the beautiful landscape and just amazing activity and adventure in Iceland. Summer's the time to go. The other really tricky bit about the summer, and tip number 3, is work on getting on the correct sleep schedule immediately. Best move you can do is sleep on the overnight flight to get there and then stay up that full day. The hardest part is that there's about a 5 or 6 hour time change from where I'm at in Louisiana to Iceland, and so midnight feels like 6 p.m. plus it's daylight outside. It's really hard to convince yourself to go to sleep. The problem is you won't wake up. Is once you're out and you're exhausted and you're in a room with blackout shades, you wake up the next morning at 10 or 11 a.m. and for me that's too late to sleep in. I want to go and do things, and so the sooner I can get back on my schedule, go to bed at my normal time, like 10 or 11 p.m. that first day I get there after staying up. Don't take a fucking nap if you can manage. And then try to set your alarm and get up at your regular time, 6, 7 a.m. It's not the most pleasurable thing. You may need a few naps, you may need to lay down, but do your naps 30 minutes, hour tops, and that way you can kind of get back on that schedule. Now, another big tip for Iceland is make friends with the locals. A few ways you can do that. Bars, restaurants, stuff like that. Be friendly, talk to your servers, don't be a dickhead tourist. Another sign, or another really good way to talk to locals is if you're talking to a bartender, tip. People don't tip in Europe. That's something we do here. You put down, 1,000 krona or 2,000 krona, which is about 20 bucks. These people will be stoked. they just don't see a lot of it. So make friends. Try to find some people that maybe will show you around something a little bit cooler. Those type of things really make a difference on a trip like this. You know, for me, luckily, the trips wouldn't be nearly as good if I didn't have local guys like Hapthor and Hasey and Runar and Swavar to show me around and kind of play Sherpa, right? And that's one of the reasons I know Iceland as well as I do now from the number of trips is I've always gone and stayed with a local friend. I mean, there is some stereotypical Icelandic bullshit to do. Like the Blue Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon is going to be packed, filled with people. It's very, very cool. I've been almost on every trip I've ever been on. But now it's really packed and you have to like schedule it, and it just didn't work out. However, like most of the cities have hot springs and they have public pools. Go check out the public pool in Reykjavik. It's fucking awesome. Do some things that the locals are doing. Find some restaurants that the locals eat at. And the food's really not weird. Don't stress about that. Like they eat hamburgers and hot dogs. They're pretty westernized as far as people go. They're just really awesome. And the last tip for Iceland, number 5, fucking dying in here. Try to keep your plans a little loose. Like if you're planning on covering a lot of ground, going to do things, like things are gonna take longer than you think they do to get there. Like 15 kilometers could take quite some time because it's a dirt road and that's not really marked on your map. But keep your plans loose and just enjoy what that country tends to throw your way and what it tends to offer you. It's really amazing there. The people are great, and I don't see how anyone doesn't enjoy it. Especially if you're into strength and stuff like that, they've got all the stones around the island. They've got the great history and myths, and the Icelandic people are super, super proud of all those things. And so I can't recommend a trip to Iceland and Reykjavik enough. It's one of my favorite places on earth. I already know I'm going back next year in August, and I think I'm gonna try to stay for a much longer trip, like maybe a month. Who knows? Who knows how things work by then, right? But that is an idea as of now. So hope you guys enjoy those little 5 tips and stuff like this. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share. As always, spread hate, always party.